What's going on, y'all? My name is Rascal Pan, and welcome to CBM City. So, if you saw my previous video, then you know CBM just announced its rebrand. So, the purpose of this video is to go a little bit more in depth on what all that means, what all went into the rebrand, what all is going into the rebrand, and a little bit more about what to expect going forward. I want to start with my thanks and my apologies. And the thanks and apologies I owe are to the same group of people. That's anybody who at any time over the course of this entire journey has supported CBM as a company or me personally as a creator. We all know what it means to be a supporter to a business person, an artist, and a content creator. All that good stuff. Liking, commenting, sharing any posts, always tuning in to any stories that I post, making sure to keep track of any updates. Those things and more, of course, are a huge inspiration to me as a content creator. So if any of that applies to you personally, I owe you that thanks. I also owe y'all the biggest apology because trust me, I know I've been all over the place these past few years and very hard to follow. My content has been all over the place. I'll disappear randomly, show up just as randomly, post for a little bit. If it's not one thing or it's another. But the bottom line is that I've been nowhere near as consistent as I would have liked to be, and lost more than a few followers, more than a few really good followers because of it. So for anybody who stayed this long, again, thanks. But I owe y'all the biggest apology. But with the announcement of the rebrand, we're starting everything as if it's from scratch, day one. So again, for all of my real followers, all of my day ones, thank y'all for sticking it out with me, and all of my new followers, welcome. Let's just say y'all came at the right time. So the question, what is CBM? That question is one of the main driving forces behind the rebrand because it's one of the biggest questions that every business should ask themselves early in the beginning. What purpose do I serve? What problem am I trying to solve? Why do I exist? And it's been one of the more difficult questions to answer historically, as over its lifetime, CVM has transformed so many different times to become so many different things. When I first came up with the concept, it was called Creation Brand Photography. So my name as an artist is Rascal Pan, and at the time I was building my identity as Rascal the Creator. So much so that people who just knew me from IG were calling me Rascal. And my name is Rascal Pan, but I go by Pan for short, as opposed to just Rascal. So I ended up changing my IG name to Pan the Creator, so that people were gonna short name me anything, it would be Pan instead of Rascal. Now, the creator aspect of the name is self-explanatory. As an artist, I just like making shit. I just love making shit. And it's constantly manifesting itself in different forms. As soon as I find something that I'm interested in, I end up finding something else that I'm interested in the next day. So with the brand, while I was trying to grow in photography, I kept finding different interests and wanted to do different things with video, more creative edits, graphics, etc. So eventually, pretty soon, the photography became media to signify that I was working with multiple different forms of visual media. So it's creation brand photography became creation brand media. So, of all of the different ways that I'm using the brand at the time, my favorite was to work with companies, especially small companies, to help them build their brand, help them produce any type of brand material. Again, photography, videography, graphic design. That became my passion, so that became my focus. I had the honor of working with a lot of companies whose names I won't mention in the interest of the fresh start, but it showed me the direction that I wanted to move in and what I wanted to specialize in. Because even just within that, there is a whole world of different skills, different focuses, and different things to take up my time. So finally, we're getting closer to answering that initial, very vital question: what is CBM? Creation Brand Media is a brand development agency. Three simple words. Meaning just that. what I do for my clients is I produce various types of visual media for them to be able to use for various types of branding purposes. From developing different types of media for them to use for their individual purposes to actually working with them in depth and developing full on in depth branding strategies and branding identities, which again covers a lot of different areas. That leads us to the question, what is a brand? Branding is creating any type of recognizable intellectual property representative of a specific entity, particularly as it relates to business. And understand the full scope of the importance of branding, you kind of got to get into and understand the importance of the psychology behind consumerism. Now, most of us, whether consciously or subconsciously, have such an ingrained sense of brand loyalty that we don't even realize it. So, how many times or how many of y'all have went to make a purchase of a product, any product, whatever it may be, whether it's a can of soda, a phone, a car, whatever, and because they don't have the item in the particular brand that you're used to getting, you'll consider that item out of stock. You literally be looking right at multiple different versions of the same item from different brands. But because whatever the case may be, whether you had a bad experience with those brands in the past, or whether your particular brand just makes you feel so safe and comfortable that you essentially, if they're not there, there's no other choice but them. That's the importance of a branding. You take your product or service, whatever it is, and turn it from a casual commodity to basically a necessity, essentially a necessity in someone's life. As soon as someone goes to think of a particular product or service, you're just the first thing that they think of. So, creating a business that does this for other businesses, of course, eventually forced me to change and rephrase the way that I was looking at and presenting the brand. So I tried a few different things. I made and remade a few different logos. I made and remade a few different websites and played around a few different concepts. Yeah, but nothing ever felt right. Nothing ever felt like I wanted to be representative of the brand. So, after several years of trial and error, several life setbacks, we'll just say, that caused me to take focus away from the brand and the benefit of multiple different inspirations from multiple different sources, I finally started to hone in on what I wanted the brand to essentially become. As it exists today, my brand finally has the aesthetic and the functionality that I was always looking for. What with things like the creation of CBM City and the functionality of my new website. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. The link is all over the place. The next step was to break down my organization and division into two schools of thought. I have my portfolios and my platform. So, in the interest of a fresh start, I decided that absolutely none of the work that I've done before the announcement, prior to the announcement of the rebrand, is considered part of my portfolio. We're starting completely from scratch in that regard. So, going forward with my creation, I've broken down anything that I may make into 10 individual groups. Absolutely anything that comes out of my camera, comes out of my computer, that comes out of any type of creative works that I'll be doing will be separated into 10 different portfolios or categories. The other problem that I kept running into historically was how to divide up all of this content and what platforms to put it on, i.e., what audiences to put what content in front of when. So my solution was to finally start dividing up and organizing this content on all of its various platforms and to make as many as it took, which took a lot. So now I have roughly 11 different platforms that my content is divided between, and like 7 different leak trees to group those platforms up and in regards to which particular audience I'm trying to connect. So, long story short, we got a lot of good content coming for y'all soon. If you watch this whole video, thank you. This is the first of the a few orientation videos that I'm going to be making about the rebrand. The next one that I'm going to be dropping soon within this next few days, next few weeks, is going to go a little bit more in depth on all of my different portfolios and all of my different platforms. Make it a little bit more easier for you all to be able to navigate things going forward. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this particular video, to give y'all a little bit of backstory behind the rebrand and a little bit more about what to expect going forward. So that's pretty much all I got to say for now. I'm going to wrap it up here. Peace, love, and as always, stay cool.
Yay, you in the presence of young king shit. Lost with the niggas I won rings with. Smoking on good weed, got high hopes. I know you've been let down, but I